To start our short flexibility sequence, take an inhale and rotate your arms out and raise them up. Exhale, fold once again into a forward bend. If you'd like to stretch those hamstrings once again by grabbing those ankles, pull yourself in nice and slow, very gently. Bring your hands down onto the floor, take an inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, fold back down and step back into another plank pose. Bring your body in one straight line. Keeping your body in this line, lower yourself onto the floor, coming to your belly. Untuck your toes and bring your forehead to the ground. Slide your hands down so they're right next to your ribs and come up into a full cobra. Breathe and arch your back. Hips are going down towards the ground. Energy through the crown of your head going upward. Looking up and back, reaching your head back if you'd like. And slowly bring your torso back down onto the floor. Forehead is the last thing to reach the ground. Tuck your toes. You can come through your hands and knees position and then straighten your legs into a downward facing dog. Remain here for a moment and come back to your breathing. Feel your body in the shape. On your next inhale, raise your right leg up behind you and then step it forward in between your hands, coming into a low lunge. Drop your back knee down and walk your right foot out to the edge of your mat, untucking your left toe. Come onto your forearms if that's comfortable for you. Breathe once again here and stretch the front of your left hip. Get into your hip socket. Looking down towards your arms. Take one more deep and full breath here. Then come back onto your hands. You can walk your feet back to the center of your body, tuck your back toe, and then step back into another downward facing dog. On your next inhale, raise your left leg up behind you and then step it forward in between your hands, coming into lunge on the left side. Walk your foot out to the edge of your mat, come to your knee on your back leg, untuck your toe, and then bring your forearms down onto the floor if this is comfortable for you. Breathe into your hips. Feel them opening, stretching. Feel the muscle fibers releasing out. Take one more deep breath here. And then come back onto your hands. Walk your foot back to the center of your body. Come back onto the toe on your right foot and step back into another downward facing dog. Breathe and stretch here. Take an inhale and raise your heels all the way up. Bend your knees. Look forward and step your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward bend. If you'd like to stretch a bit deeper, grab those ankles and pull your torso in towards your legs. Breathe and stretch gently. Bring your hands down onto the floor now. Take an inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, fold your torso back down. Come up to standing. Bring your arms out and up. And then release your hands down by your sides. On your next inhale, rotate your arms out and raise them up towards the sky, reaching up. Take an exhale and fold your torso into a forward bend. If you'd like to stretch a bit deeper, grab those ankles and gently pull your torso in once again towards your legs. And then slowly release your hands back down onto the floor. Take an inhale and look up halfway, straightening your back, and exhale, fold down. Stepping back into another plank pose, bring your body into one straight line onto your belly on the floor. Untuck your toes, slide your hands right next to your ribs, coming up into another full cobra arch. Arching your back, not locking in your elbows. If you'd like to look up and back with your head, and then coming back down onto the ground with your torso. Your forehead is the last thing to reach the floor. Tuck your back toes, push into the floor with your hands, and come right up into a downward facing dog. Breathe and settle here for a moment. On your next inhale, raise your right leg up behind you and then step it forward in between your hands, walking that foot out to the edge of your mat. Drop your back knee down onto the floor and untuck your toe. Drop down onto your forearms if this is available to your body at this time. And breathe as you sink those hips down towards the floor. With each exhale, try and stretch a bit deeper. Take one more deep breath here. Come back onto your hands and bringing your right arm behind you, bend your left leg and grab onto your left foot. Breathe as you deeply stretch your quadricep muscle, still sinking those hips down. And release your hand from your foot now. And just come to a twist by walking your foot in towards the center line of your body and opening your shoulders to the right. Breathe as you twist into your back, still sinking your hips down into the stretch. Take one more deep breath, one more reach, and then drop your hand down onto the floor. Tuck your back toe, press into the floor with your hands, and step back into a downward facing dog. Come to a few deep breaths here, feeling your body in the shape. On your next inhale, raise your left leg up behind you and then bring it forward into your lunge, walking your left foot out to the edge of your mat, untucking your right toe, dropping that knee and coming down onto your forearms. Breathe and stretch in this low lunge here. Sinking those hips down slowly with each exhale, getting into those hip sockets even deeper. Come now back onto your hands. Bring your left arm behind you and bend your right knee, stretching a bit deeper in your quadricep muscle. Still sinking those hips down, just stretching deeper. Take one more deep breath here, and then release your hand from your foot. Dropping that foot back down onto the floor, walk your left foot in towards the center line of your body and twist your shoulders open to the left, reaching that arm up. Take one more deep and full breath, one more reach upward, and then set your hand back down onto the floor, tuck your right toe, press into the floor with both hands, and step back into a down dog. On your next inhale, raise your heels all the way up and bend your knees. Look forward and walk your feet into a forward fold, relaxing your torso over your legs. You can grab onto your ankles and gently pull your torso in towards your legs, just getting deeper into those hamstrings and low back. You can come to release your hands back down on the floor. Take an inhale and look up, and exhale, fold back down. Come up to standing now on your next inhale, raising your arms all the way up, and then release your hands down by your sides. Take an inhale, rotate your arms out and raise them up. On your exhale, fold back down into a forward bend. Bend your knees and plant your hands onto the floor. Step right back into a downward facing dog. Stay here for a moment and take a deep breath. On your next inhale, take your right leg and step it forward in between your hands, coming into a lunge. Straighten your right leg now, keeping your feet where they are. Keep your torso looking down towards your leg and then come to flex your right foot, stretching the back of your right leg, staying up on the ball of your left foot, getting deep into that calf as well by flexing your foot. Hold here for one more breath. And then come right back into your lunge by bending your right knee and settling down here. Breathe and sink those hips down. And get ready to come into that stretch one more time. So straightening your right leg, staying up high on the ball of that left foot, flexing your right foot. Breathe as you stretch your hamstring and your calf on the right side. Keep your torso down, looking backwards. Take one more deep breath here, and then bend your right knee, coming back into your lunge. Sink those hips down. Press into the floor with both hands and step back into your downward facing dog. Breathe and settle here for a moment. On your next inhale, take your left leg and step it forward in between your hands, coming through your lunge. And then come to straightening your left leg and flex that foot. Staying up high on the ball of your right foot behind you, looking down towards your left shin. Keep that leg straight, stretching the back of your left leg. Take one more breath here. And then bend your left knee, coming back through your lunge. Sinking those hips down, keeping your left knee above your left ankle. Getting ready to come into that stretch one more time. Straightening your left leg, flexing your left foot. Stay up high on the ball of your right foot, keeping your feet where they are, just stretching the back of your leg, your hamstring, your calf. Breathe and relax your torso over. And now come to bend your left knee and sink those hips down back through your lunge. Press into the floor now with both of your hands and step back into a downward facing dog. Come now to getting a thick yoga blanket and a yoga block if you have it. If not, a towel and a book should work as well, as long as they're nice and thick. So once you have your props, come into a downward facing dog, placing your blanket or towel underneath you folded and your block off to the side. Take your right foot and step it forward, coming into a lunge one more time. Drop your left knee onto your folded towel or blanket, and then come to straightening your right leg and flexing that foot, coming into another calf stretch, relaxing your torso down over your shin, looking downward, staying up on the ball of that back foot on your knee, flexing your right foot. Take one more deep breath here, and then come back to bending your right knee. Take your yoga block and place it right underneath your hips, coming into a split on the right side. Straighten your right leg, sliding your hips down and resting them onto the yoga block. Bring your torso upright, and you can stay on your hands on the floor. Breathe and stretch here. Breathe through the discomfort. And now come to lift yourself off of the yoga block, coming onto your right hip. Remove the block and set it to the side. Swing your legs around. Plant your hands onto the floor and step right back into a downward facing dog. As you're in your down dog, make a note of any difference you might be feeling in your legs now that you've stretched one. And on your next inhale, step your left leg forward, coming into that lunge on the left side. Drop your right knee behind you, and then come to straighten your left leg and flex your left foot. Look down towards that shin. Breathe and stretch the back of your left leg, your hamstring, and your calf. Take a few more deep breaths here. And now bend your left knee back into your lunge. Grab that yoga block and set it right underneath your hips. And then once it's there, straighten your left leg, walking it a bit forward. Getting into that split on the left side. Set your hips down onto the block. And remain here. If you need to keep those knees slightly bent, then that's fine. Coming up with your torso, bring your hands down to the floor, keeping that torso upright as much as you can. Continue to breathe here. Stretching your hamstring on the left and your hip flexor on the right, that hip socket, the front of your leg. And now come to removing that yoga block, setting it to the side. Swing those legs around. Set those hands down onto the floor and step back into your down dog. You can remove your blanket or your towel, set it to the side, come back into your down dog. And take an inhale, drop your knees to the floor, Touch your toes together behind you, separate your knees about the width of your mat, and then drop your torso over your thighs, stretching your arms in front of you. Bring your forehead to the floor. Breathe and sink those hips down towards your heels, relaxing your back completely over those legs. Come back to your breath. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Take a deep inhale through your nose and release it out in the same way. Take one more breath here. Coming up onto your knees, come back onto your hands. Bring your legs back to parallel, hips distance. Tuck your toes and then walk your hands about 6 inches forward, dropping your forehead to the floor. Breathe, feel that back slightly arching. Get into your hips, stretching the bottoms of your feet as well. One more deep breath here. And then come back onto your hands, lifting your head off the ground. Bring your hands under your shoulders and straighten your legs into a downward facing dog. Come back to your down dog. Breathe here. On your next inhale, take your right leg and raise it up behind you. Turn that leg out from your hip and bend your knee. Allow the weight of your foot and your leg to stretch your hip. Bring it over, keeping your hands on the ground. Breathe here. And come to, set that foot down on the floor behind you, lifting your right arm up, coming into an arch. Reaching that top arm up and over, keeping that left leg straight. And now come back to your three-legged down dog, raising your right leg up. And then step that foot forward in between your hands. Walk your foot over to the left, coming into pigeon pose. Drop your knee down onto the floor, straightening your back leg. Bring your torso over your leg now, your right leg, dropping either down onto your forearms, or you can come to bringing your forehead down onto the floor by walking your hands a bit forward. If you need to, bring a blanket or a towel underneath your hips here, then you can do that as well. This is a very deep stretch for the outer edge of your right hip. So if you need to come back onto your forearms, if it's too much, then don't be afraid to do so. Breathe and stretch. One more deep breath here. And then nice and slow, take your arms back up, coming back onto your hands. Press into the floor with both of your hands and gently straighten your leg, coming back into a downward facing dog. As you're in your down dog, notice any difference you might be feeling in both sides of your body. Take one more deep breath here. And on your next inhale, raise your left leg up behind you and turn that leg out from your hip, bending your left knee, and allow the weight of your foot and your leg to take your hip over, stretching the front of your left leg and your hip there. Take a few more deep breaths here, keeping your hands on the ground. Take your left leg and set it down on the floor behind you, lifting your left arm, reaching it up and over on the diagonal, coming into an arch. Keep that right leg straight and reach that left arm up and over. Try not to lock into your right elbow on the floor. And now come back through your downward facing dog and step your left leg forward, starting out into a lunge, but then walk your left foot over to the right, dropping your knee down onto the floor, bringing your shin to as parallel to the front of your mat as you can. Drop your hips down towards the floor, coming into pigeon pose. If you need to set your hips down onto a towel or a blanket, then that's fine. Drop down onto your forearms, or you can reach your arms a little bit forward so you can set your forehead down onto the ground. And just breathe as you relax your torso forward over that front leg. Pigeon pose can be a very intense stretch for your hips and your legs, So if you need to come out of it, then go right ahead. Come into a child's pose, whatever you need to do. Take one more deep breath. Coming back onto your hands. Press into the floor with your hands, tuck your back toe, and come back into a downward facing dog. Feel the difference in your legs. You might be feeling a bit more open now in your hips. When you're ready, come out of your downward facing dog and rest in a child's pose. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.